Goodbye and Good Riddance is a very divisive episode of Ben 10 Classic. The last episode of Ben 10 Classic. And it's not canon, what the heck. I knew a lot of people growing up that were confused as to why Alien Force didn't acknowledge this episode, even though Ben 10 has had what-if style episodes in the past. I don't really mind this episode, but it has its problems. The biggest problem in my mind is that it brings Vilgax back to deal with him very easily. If getting thrown into space and exploding alongside his ship or a nuke aren't enough to do Vilgax in, why would a city gas pipe explosion take care of him? Ninja Turtles 2 kind of ending. Other than that, it's fun to see more superhero elements, like Ben hiding his secret identity or using the Omnitrix for chores. And I like that we get lots of nods towards some past episodes, like the kids in Ben's school talking about his aliens. It makes it feel way more important, like the world is changing. Ultimately, it's not the worst episode, and it's not even canon, although I do wish it wasn't the series finale, though. It wasn't that bad.
No, it was okay.
I like it, actually.
You know what? I like it a lot better than the last episode.
You don't like the negative 10 that much?
I hate it. I like Ben for Good Betty more.
Hot take again. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not canon, so it's really hard to be like, this breaks so many things, because it doesn't.
Why can't it be canon?
Well, there's some interesting little tidbits we can talk about. Number one, I noticed Grandpa Max says, I never told your parents or your grandmother about my plumbing.
Every day I wanted to tell your grandma and our kids the truth.
Caught that.
Yeah. And then that leads to an interesting theory that this is actually the future version, or this is the timeline that leads into Ben 10,000. If Gwen didn't have her Anodite heritage, she would only be magic.
Yeah.
Gwendolyn from the Ben 10,000 episodes never uses any Anodite abilities. It's all like magic-y type stuff. So this is just an alternate reality where there's no Anodite nonsense. There's no Alien Force stuff. There's no Omnitrix reboot. It's just like the original Omnitrix that Ben kind of works around. There's no real relationship with Azimuth. There's no... You know, all this stuff just didn't happen, so we get Ben 10,000 out of this timeline.
Right.
Which, that's okay.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's kind of neat that we have an extra timeline that we can kind of snap back and forth between if we want, you know. Also, Ben gets outed in this episode as a superhero, so I guess that would help advance the society along, and it would make Bellwood more of a... Even though I don't think they're in Bellwood in Ben 10,000, because you see Mount Rushmore behind them.
Yeah.
Unless they maybe moved Mount Rushmore to Bellwood.
They pushed it somewhere else.
Pushed it somewhere else.
Well, because we see Mount Rushmore get a beating at least 3 times in this season, in this series.
Yeah. So I guess they could have just picked it up and moved it if it was. Maybe Vilgax comes back and actually no, that's another point towards Ben 10,000 timeline. Vilgax gets exploded by sewer gas in this, and everyone's like, he's exploded and dead. And Ben, in that timeline, he says, last time I saw Vilgax, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah, he was in pieces. And when you see him in the little test tube, he looks exactly kind of how you would expect him to look after he got blowed up.
But he'd been blowed up so many times, dude. I mean, his ship exploded, and he was, like, pretty fine.
Yeah, got it strapped to a nuke.
Yeah.
Pretty fine.
Pretty fine, honestly. He came back.
Yeah.
And Vilgax is one of those where, like, maybe all the time in the chamber when he was healing, because the whole first season he was in the chamber, like, healing up, you know?
Yeah.
So maybe all that time did him good. Like, he didn't have to actually, like, maybe he didn't have to actually, like, you know, recover like that every time. Maybe his body's just, it's like Alan the Alien, where, like, he gets reborn after the Viltrumites attack. Yeah. And he's just, like, a beefed up motherfucker. He's just crazy now.
I love Alan the Alien.
He's good, dude. Okay, so this is essentially the end of the show. I mean, we're at the end of the show. We've done every single episode of Ben 10. This is our last in the series. We're going to do Race Against Time and Destroy Aliens after this. We got a couple more non-episode review videos going out on Mondays after this, but this is it. We're the Binge Warmers. My name is Hopper.
And I'm Steven.
And if you like our content, go back through the dreg.
Yeah, we got a lot of you guys off of one short. We got a lot of subs, so if you guys are new to the channel, go check out our content. Pretty good.
We've seen a bunch of you kind of going back through and commenting already, so thank you for... I mean, it's funny that we're getting kind of big now after we finished the whole series. Yeah. Which is funny.
Well, it's nice because now they have an entire library to watch.
That's true. And I think a lot of people are going to figure out we weren't as professional always.
Oh, no, not at all.
You can kind of tell when our content switches.
Yeah.
So
once I took over and Hopper kind of...
Yeah, this is all Steven's doings. Steven didn't sit on his phone and let me set up the whole thing today.
There was a point where I was like, God, I'm so bored. I've scrolled through so much. Like, is he not done yet? And then I looked up and I was like, I'm not going to say that. And then I just kept scrolling instead.
Anyway, but we're thrilled. We're thrilled. So
Yeah.
in 2 or 3 weeks, we'll put up a poll and see if y'all want us to continue Ben 10, do Alien Force, or if y'all want us to switch to Teen Titans.
We've gotten a lot from both, so
Yeah, we've seen a lot of feedback from either A or B.
Yeah.
But we'll leave it up to y'all. We'll do an official poll, and we'll kind of
we're gonna do both eventually.
Eventually,
so.
we'll go back through both. I think but I love this rewatch format of just like looking back through Ben 10
And I really like the rewatch of Ben 10, so I'd love to go into Alien Force, but I love the rewatch of a classic cartoon.
Yeah.
So I would love to go back through Teen Titans too. You know what I mean?
Because we do reviews of current stuff as well, but
Yeah.
it's nice to like have the hindsight and just kind of go back through this and see everything that we know. And like with Ben 10's got like 3 different shows after,
Yeah.
so we got all these different like lore bits we can add to stuff. That this is where the beginning of this happened or whatever.
Yeah.
But Goodbye and Good Riddance, usually criticized by fans pretty heavy because it's not canon and because Ben's like back in Bellwood, so it's like
A lot of inconsistencies in this episode. They just make me mad. It's like little things, you know?
like what?
Like, Cash and GT don't have the same voice actors.
GT?
JT and Cash. Also, they call him a coward for hiding when there's like 8 drones just shooting indiscriminately in a gym and everyone's
Yeah.
running, but Ben's the only coward.
Yeah.
Really, it's just JT and Cash. Really, like everything they do in this episode, I'm like, why are you guys dicks? What's going
Well,
on?
that's good then because we were supposed to hate them, you know?
Yeah.
They get their comeuppance at the end. He finally he gives him the wedgie and he's like, that was me the whole time. Hee hee.
Yeah, this is like the 3rd wedgie they've gotten.
Yeah, it's a nice cap to the series because that started that happened in the first
it did,
episode.
yeah.
Little
Continuation.
bookmark there.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, the
bookends.
lunch lady gives him just a bunch of slop on his tray.
Yeah, I guarantee you, there's an episode where Gwen is in Charmcaster's body, and she's in prison, and they do like the same kind of thing. It makes more sense if you're in a prison, but like lunch ladies in cartoons always just slop down some indiscriminate amount of like slop on your plate.
Yeah,
it's never.
But like every lunch lady I've ever experienced has been the nicest lady ever.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I like that meme where it's like when the lunch lady gives you an extra chicken,
Yeah,
or whatever, and you're like bending her back.
Yeah. Well, okay. No,
It's a meme. It's a joke. It's a funny
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know, these little things that just piss me off. I was like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
It's little picks.
What about the beginning when we see like the Birdmen, little Falcon
Yeah,
boys?
like what was their whole goal? They were gonna blow up the blimp.
Yeah.
Why? It's a sightseeing blimp.
The whole thing was just to set up to say, he's like, Grandpa is Wildvine. Ben's
Yeah.
Wildvine. He goes, Grandpa, what are we doing next? What's our next adventure? And Grandpa's like, Ben, you're going back to school. Ah!
Yeah.
Like he's so much more afraid of school than he is
Yes,
like
100%.
bird terrorists.
And then also, why is Animo there at the end? He just shows up.
Yeah. Animo's known to just show up and hang
Yeah.
out. And he had like a big ant with him, like some kind of lizard.
Yeah, he was running in
Lizard?
like a monkey robot thing.
It looks cool. I like
Yeah,
that stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that I don't know that this is the worst episode. Obviously, it's sort of like a fun aside. I think this was meant to bridge the gap really between Alien Force and Classic. I think a lot of these notes kind of go over into Race Against Time, which also serves that same purpose of, okay, Ben, your road trip's over. Now it's time to have your normal life back.
Yeah.
And Alien Force primarily takes place in Bellwood. So I think this is kind of more than anything just to set up the fact that Ben's not always on a road trip. Like we're expanding his lore. We're going to stay at a certain town, a certain place, and now kind of get you more well in tune because they show like the city at the end. Vilgax calls it a town, but it's more of a city, right? It's more of a city. There's a like a billboard when they come back and it says like the most normal town in the world or something like that.
Well, you see Ben and Grandpa Max driving in after the whole drone attack at the school when they're driving through a downtown city. You know? So it's city. And I think another reason why people were so angry with this episode is just that we were looking at the episodes for season 4 before we started. It's like 3 are filler.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 are non-canon.
Yeah.
2 are a one-part, like 2-parter of one episode. You get like 6, 7 episodes maybe out of 11 episodes when you usually get 13 episodes. It just felt very phoned in for Alien Force. So like this being the final episode, it's like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
What is this?
It's a good thing Alien Force paid off, and it's good because I mean it has its downside. We'll get to all that, but on the whole, it's pretty enjoyable.
Oh, it's so good.
So
it's my favorite of it. Is Alien Force Ultimate Alien.
So I think you can kind of excuse a little bit of this like rushed 4th season or 3rd season, excuse fourth. Rushed 4th season just to like you have a good like payoff later.
Yeah.
But this came out like a week before Alien Force premiered.
Yeah.
This was like a big deal. Like, oh, this is the last episode of Classic, and like it was largely removed from season 4. Like it wasn't actually made around, made with season 4 as part of it.
My headcanon is I feel like the studio Man of Action and stuff were so like put to the side because of Alien Force that by the time they wrapped season 4, there was, what do we call this? Call it goodbye and good riddance. Like, I'm so done with this. You know what I mean?
You can tell they were trying to fill for time too, a lot of it, because they have 3 transformations we get.
Yeah. And the funny is you say, oh, we got 3 transformations. I was like, I know, it's awesome. You're like, no, it means that we got less actual time. I was like, oh, I don't like that you ruined that for me.
Yeah. You think about like old Filmation shows or like the Transformer show where it's like they do a transformation but it's the same every single time. Mm-hmm. It's just so they have that episode, or they have the animation canned so they can just throw it in and here's 10 seconds of stuff they don't have to animate, you know what I mean?
I mean, anime too, when they're just sitting there talking, like they're just moving their mouths. Yeah. So it's like, wow, like half the episode is not animated.
A lot of Cannon Bolt's dialogue is inside of his shell, so they don't have to animate his mouth moving.
How'd Grandpa not pick you up on his plumber radar?
But it does take time. Transformers, there's a poster of Optimus Prime in Ben's bedroom. Do you see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
You can tell there was corners cut in this episode, but it's okay.
The action scenes were all comic book action scenes. They were not moving.
Yeah, a lot of them, when they're fighting the drones at the end, it's legitimately just still images of like shooting or bashing through them or something.
Even when they have the guns, they're standing still shooting, and then they'll pan to the droids, and then they'll just blow up. So at most, you get projectile animation. That's it.
Yeah. And it stinks that Vilgax is back for this, but he doesn't do anything, and he's like largely handled very easily. He
backhands Ben. Why Ben was accelerate? Like it ends up working out, but in the like laziest way. You know what I mean? This is the last episode. I want a Forearms versus Vilgax fight. You know what I mean?
Well, we get that in the dream sequence.
I want another one, and I want it longer.
Well, it's a dream sequence.
That's what she said. Feel bad for the first guy.
But it's a dream sequence, so it's not legitimately a Forearms versus Vilgax. Yeah. It's just sort of like Vilgax, they fight, and then he throws him up into a ship and it explodes, but he still is fine. Yeah. Anyway, Vilgax and Forearms would have been a good fight, ultimately. That's what we wanted.
Absolutely.
The whole Gwen moving to town thing, I think that lasts. Like, I think that sticks because she's in Bellwood and Alien Force on.
Yeah.
But it's kind of sad that they get to they get split up, and they're both like, well, they're talking at the same time. Smell you later.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want, I'd say I miss you, but I wouldn't want to lie.
Yeah. You can tell they've got a respect for each other now, which is awesome. Oh, just thinking about Alien Force, I'm so on the fence on what we cover next. Like, I'm so glad it's not in my hands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's all up to you.
I'm so glad because I would feel like if we went and decided, okay, we're gonna do Teen Titans, I was like, is that the move? Or if we did Ben 10's, like, oh, what Teen Titans? I'm so glad I don't have to choose.
Again, we'll cover both eventually, but it's going to take time.
I mean, this is going to be another year-long project.
Things I like that we get to see kind of Ben's home life after. Like,
they had a nice house. Ben's got a nice house.
His dad's like a city engineer now. Yeah. I guess he was something else.
Getting good. Yeah, he's probably an engineer the whole time, though.
Yeah.
He's got a nice dog.
His dog is big as hell, dude.
Dude, I love him.
Like Ben's sitting down in a chair, and it's like up above Ben. Yeah. So it's like crazy.
I made the comment, we walk in, we see Ben's room, and it's a mess. And I looked over, I said, my mom, if she knew I was going on a summer-long road trip with my grandpa or whoever, there's no way I'm leaving the room without it being spotless first. And she's canceling the road trip.
Oh, yeah, dude. And you don't want to come home to a dirty house. A lot of times when I go on vacation, I'll clean the house beforehand.
I've never understood that, but my girlfriend, does do that, and I'm just like...
It's because, like, when you get home, you're going to be so tired and exhausted from just traveling and being around. You don't want to be like, oh, I got to clean now.
But you're still going to have to clean because you bring all that stuff in. You just leave it in the living room like we do, and then 2 days later, we clean it up. So either way, the house is dirty.
Yeah, that's true. But it's nice that it's not as dirty as it could have been,
It's all about your perspective. If you don't care, then you don't care. But if you do care, then it's going to... It's going to affect you. You know what I mean? Like, Des would come on, she's stressing. I'm just like, I'm going to be in the bedroom and play Xbox.
What a supporting boyfriend you are.
Well, it's like no one else is coming to the house. You know what I mean?
That's true. I don't know. Carl and Sandra are Ben's parents. I think one of them's Tara Strong. One of them's probably D. Bradley Baker.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like. When he did his yell, too, I was like,
that's D.
I know who you are.
The Tennyson family is kind of fun, though, at the end of this. When they all have guns and Vilgax is up on top of this building like Batman, or like, it reminded me a little bit of Spider-Man 2099 when they're looking for Miles. And he's like, Tennyson! And then they all three go, you talking to me, ugly?
Like, why would the dad say it, though?
Because he wants to feel it.
Dad, you're an engineer. Okay.
What happened to Sandra? She just dead now?
Who's Sandra?
The mom.
Oh, she showed up at the end.
Oh, she did show up at the end.
Yeah. She's getting the groceries.
That's all she had to do. Thank God she was getting groceries when Vilgax like parked his ship in the house.
100%, dude.
But In the movie, they're more like crunchy vegan types, but in this, they're not. They're eating spaghetti and meatballs. They probably don't care what they're eating.
Yeah.
But they don't really have much personality at all, for being honest.
No, I mean, again, it's a throwaway episode.
Yeah, that's true. Ben's dad is very, very hung up on the fact that his dad, Grandpa Max, didn't really raise him. He was like, yeah, he was always off doing a plumbing emergency.
Yeah, he's kind of shredded, though.
Talking about Carl?
Yeah.
Was he shredded, really?
Yeah, you get to see the definition.
Okay, well, good. But,
good.
Yeah, when Ben rescues his dad as Cannonbolt, he goes, "You should have seen Grandpa. He in action. He was really proud. You'd be proud of him." And he goes, "Proud? Something my dad never really was of me."
Yeah, Ben's like, "What?"
Shut the hell up, Carl. You feel like just destroyed the house. What are you talking about?
Dad, no offense, but I'm a 10-year-old boy. This is not who you need to be talking to about this.
Maybe see a therapist. He's Cannonbolt. Maybe see a therapist, Dad.
Hold on. I hate turning into gray matter, but I will just for you.
Not even gray matter, bro.
Gives him an alien wet willy.
Ooh, grody. What about JT and Cash figuring out a secret? Do you like all that stuff?
Yeah, because that's like an ultimate flex. You know, who doesn't want to be a superhero at 10 and then tell all your friends and enemies? You know,
it is kind of cool that we get to hear what people in the school think about as aliens, because they talk about
his quad hands.
Yeah, he's like,
someone
what's that guy's
shoot
name?
that guy.
Well, the drone was trying to. Probably.
Yeah, the drone strike.
Yeah, you get people talking about the burning building from episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
The I don't know all the episode numbers, but I was gonna say the burning building. You get the
magic in Ben 10 doesn't make any sense episode.
Yes, the hex and thank you. It's like the hex and Charmcaster in Las Vegas episode. Then there's because they talk about the Wild Mutt shows up on stage. Then you got the Kevin 11 versus Ben 10 season 2 episode where they're on the Golden Gate Bridge. They mention I think that Cash and JT mentioned the baseball episode with Diamond Head.
Yeah.
Ben's even got his little box of trinkets. You see like stuff from the Tourist Trap episode, photos from the Tourist Trap episode. There's some stuff from like Tetrax. He has like the little cube that he can turn into a skateboard or a hoverboard.
Yeah.
A couple other things like that. But it's good continuity, even though this doesn't.
Even though this isn't continuity.
Yeah, it's not in the continuity, but it's nice to have, that kind of last episode dump. Like here's all the stuff that happened.
Yeah. How are you gonna get slop on your tray for lunch, but then someone's got a milkshake?
Yeah, and were they gonna share the milkshake? Why were they both? What was like a double
They're picking
team up?
teams, and JT and Cash are on different teams.
Yeah.
But you would want to be on the same team, you know what I mean?
Are they like they're the peak of like 5th grade education or 5th grade physical education? Like both of them.
I didn't see a single teacher until the guy was like, "Don't you think it's time for an early recess?" It's like, "Don't you think it's time to fix that hairline?"
Don't you think it's time to call the police? Maybe. Why do I got to do it? I'm just a 10-year-old.
10 years old, bro. Leave me alone.
No, he's got the Omnitrix. He can do it. Yeah, I don't know. I think this episode gets a lot of crap, and rightly so, probably.
Yeah,
but it's not the worst thing, is it? It's nice to have like Ben back at home, and
it's worse than Ben Forgood, buddy.
What's your least favorite episode? Have we talked about this?
No, I think it's Super Alien Hero, buddy.
We have talked about this, yeah. And I said the Merry Christmas was my
I really enjoyed the Merry Christmas one.
Some people did. We had a poll of what the least favorite episode everyone is, and Ben Forgood, buddy, was like majority.
Yeah,
but mine was Merry Christmas. Yours was the Super Alien Hero Buddies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's Ben 10 Classic, really. I mean, there's no more episodes past this. We kind of wrap it up with this one.
Yep. It's a little bittersweet wrapping that up, huh?
Yeah, it is. You want to kind of talk about like how did this rewatch change your appreciation for the classic series?
I think I already had a change experience because I'd recently watched it closer to this than you did. I think you hit me up maybe 5 months after I'd already rewatched it.
Probably.
And I was like, sure, yeah, I'll do it again. I don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, rewatching it's nice to see the little nuances and stuff, the things that the creators will put into the show and be like, oh, I didn't catch that when I was a kid, and now I do, and it's kind of cool, And it's nice to theorize and figure out there's a whole community of people that are doing the same thing. Yeah, no,
that was the biggest surprise for me. It was like you go on the Ben 10 subreddit or you watch the Ink Tank, and you see all these different people who are like super devoted to this show and all the following shows and stuff, and it's nice. It's like I'm glad that we're getting this comic. We talked about a little bit the Ben 10 comics coming out probably next year, probably.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that's going to be like or what it's going to
entail,
like,
what it leads to after that, if it's successful enough.
Because if we and y'all buy it and hype it up and make sure it's a big deal, then maybe another show comes. Who knows?
I hope so.
Maybe a big live action movie comes. That's what I kind of want.
Yeah, Multiverses comes.
Yeah, put them in a video game, please. Thank you. Would you want? Okay, if you could either pick between like a AAA like RPG game or like whatever your ideal Ben 10 game would be, or pick like a live action movie series, what would you pick?
Live action movie series.
Yeah, I think so too. That's the more wide reaching thing, because video games are big, but I think there's way more potential for a movie. And you can do different markets and just it's huge around the world too. I don't know. It's like a huge property, Ben 10. So I'm hoping that with time we'll get some more stuff.
Absolutely.
Are we greedy though for just wanting? Because we've already got so much Ben 10.
No, because we haven't had anything new since like 2016.
I think the reboot started in 2016.
I always think it ends in 2016.
Yeah, it ended probably.
I don't count that. Omniverse is the last thing, and you're barely getting me on that one.
Steven's not even watched Omniverse yet. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah, I'm not fooling nobody.
Once he watches Omniverse, he's gonna be like, "Oh, pretty good."
I had a dream I watched it the other night.
You're gonna be like Squidward with the Krabby Patties, where he's like, "I'm gonna do that face like you like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward?" And you're gonna go, "Well, I am telling you."
But yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, man. So we got a whole playlist of Ben 10 rewatch episodes for you. We do an episode per an episode. So that's on the left side of your screen. On the right side of your screen is some of our fun YouTube-y stuff. You're going to find like an alien ranking video. On the right side of the screen, you'll find that playlist. In the middle, you can subscribe to us, and we will see you in the next thing we do.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.